Oh, do I? Is that it? How you could ever possibly hope to understand is beyond me. Jedi don't have family. I know what happened at Malachor 5, and I know Jedi didn't care about life there. Get away from me. The next time you come and ask me a question, I swear I'll shoot you in the head and dump you out the airlock. What do you want now? Whatever, don't worry about it. It's just a sore subject with me. Yeah, well, they're dead. That's how that story ends. But not everybody's story has to end with losing their family or their loved ones. And not all the bounty hunting I do is for criminals or killers. There's a lot of lost people out there, scattered ever since the Mandalorian Wars. And sometimes, it's like you can almost hear them. Like an echo, calling out for each other. And maybe, just maybe by finding them, I can start putting the galaxy back together. Maybe. We'll see. I don't even know why I'm telling you this. But you're not getting anything else out of me. Shoot. Made it. It's custom for me, which is a good thing, because I wouldn't want anyone using it against me. I can show you how to make rockets, though, if you'd like. All it requires is a good skill with demolitions. Anything else you wanted to know? Yeah, something wrong? Alright. Yeah, more or less. I wasn't born there, I just ended up there. Well, the war happened. The first one, against the Mandalorians. I had family right up until the end. It's not really a new story, you hear it all over the galaxy. It's what happens after the wars are over that you don't hear much about. I think so. After Revan crushed the Mandalorians, planets throughout the Republic were flooded with refugees. I was just one of the others. Me? I got passage to Nar Shaddaa. From there, not much you can do, so I became a bounty hunter. Take a guess, Jedi. Only 2 groups of people would have lost family at Malachor. And Jedi don't have families. As much as any slave becomes a Mandalorian. They took prisoners on every world they conquered to bolster their ranks. And they took a lot of worlds. When I was young, yeah. They mostly used me to carry ammo packs and munitions. Toward the end of the war, they needed everyone they could get. They taught me to fight, to hunt, to survive. I was part of their squad, even when I was young. Everyone served as part of the unit, and I felt like I had a place there. After Malachor, it really didn't matter anymore. The Mandalorians lost. Bad. But you know that. Should I be? Maybe I should ask you if you're happy about all the Jedi who died on Malachor 5. Maybe it felt like you lost family there, but I doubt it. Yeah, I know. I saw the worlds they left behind them during the war. That kind of stays with you, I haven't forgotten it. What happened at Malachor, they probably deserved it. Should I be? Maybe it felt... Go ahead and ask. I'm good at finding people, so I used it to make credits. Not if you know your target. Usually you get a hollow or rough description, and then you just sort of listen to it, get a feel for him or her, and start walking. This is a little hard to explain, but Nar Shaddaa's got a flow, a life to it. You see all kinds of aliens and life there, and it's got currents. You know your target, you can feel them, know where they're going to go. And sometimes, You know where they're going to be before they do. I'm good at finding people. Because when they're lost or out of place, it's like something's wrong inside them. And that's why I hunt. Shoot. I didn't kill him once. Biggest mistake ever. Do you really want to hear this? Well, Hanhar and me go way back, in the worst possible way. He's from some forest planet on the Outer Rim where Zerka had set up one of their slaving operations. I don't remember the name. Something with too many K's and Y's. It sounds like you're gargling Ronto spit when you say it. No idea. He's just Hanhar. I hope there aren't any more like him. I get the impression he's not a good representative of his people, though. He's the equivalent of a mad calf hound among Rontos. Some of Voga the Het's men said Hanhar killed his own tribe, but those two crud thugs lie every time they open their mouths, so who knows? Well, not for long. Once off planet, Hanhar escaped from the Zerka slavers, then killed them all. I don't know. I always thought he just liked using them as weapons. Well, before you get too proud of him, Hanhar figured Zerka had the right idea. I don't think he understood the concept of slavery before, at least on the scale that Zerka practiced it. But now he did. You ever hear of Dursan 3, or the ID cluster colonies? Right, that's because Hanhar happened. He makes what happened to his homeworld look like an exercise in community building. He's not a bounty hunter. He's a slaver. A predator. It's like he's out to enslave or kill every human in the galaxy, like he's trying to settle some huge score or debt. I don't get it, but he's dangerous. Anyone who paid credits. And sometimes, he just hunted humans for sport. The ones who survived, he sold to the exchange, to the huts, to anyone who'd buy bodies. Living or dead. He and Voga used to do big credit transactions. That hut really liked the look of unwrinkled humans for some reason. Didn't make him too popular with the other huts, let me tell you. I was prey. And not only did I escape, but I saved his life while doing it. He's been hunting me ever since. I don't pretend to understand it, but among his people, they have these codes of honor, but somewhere along the line, Hanhar's got twisted. His people form these things called life debts. If you save the life of one of them, they pledge themselves to you. Well, with Hanhar, he can't escape that life debt. It's bred into him. But he hates every other living thing in the galaxy, so pledging himself to someone else, especially a human, was unbearable. So when I saved his life, it was the worst thing I could do. It was like slavery all over again. But it was in his head. It was like it pushed him over the edge. A life debt to Hanhar is a death sentence. He'll hunt you until you're dead. When I saved his life, it meant he had to kill me. And so he kept chasing me in hopes I would die. I think the fact I showed him mercy after hating humans for so long, that was something he couldn't stand. Probably. But if he had multiple life debts, especially to humans, Hanhar would probably go mad. He was angry before, sure, but he'd be 10 times worse if that happened. Hanhar's tough. Really tough. And when he loses it, it's like nothing can stop him. I've seen him shrug off blaster bolts, balls, and stunners, and even survive a freighter crash on Dursan 3. He keeps coming. Yeah, tell me about it. Like I said, I get the impression a life debt's supposed to be a gift. But to Hanhar, it's more like a curse to both people involved. Oh, I'm glad he's gone. It's like a weight off my shoulders. I don't have to keep watching my back every minute, wondering when he's gonna show up. And he always did. It's like he always knew where I was. Trust me, if he was still alive, he'd be chasing us even now, waiting to ambush us when we least expect it. And he always shows up at the worst possible time. He was one of the best bounty hunters on Nar Shaddaa. Hanhar never gives up on his prey. Or his life debts. He's a hunter. He's a natural predator. Well, as happens on Nar Shaddaa, I made someone mad. Mad enough for them to send Hanhar after me. Turns out they were even able to get him cheap. He'd heard about me and wanted to hunt me down, for sport. He didn't think I'd be much of a challenge. Well, he tried to box me down in vents beneath the Narshada docks, and he'd set one too many proximity mines to cover the escape routes. I think he'd hoped to drive me into the mines and then let them do the work. Or that I'd be too scared to try and walk through them. Thing is, I knew Hanhar's supplier, and the trigger signatures for the mines. It was pretty easy to broadcast a signal to blind their sensor receptors for a minute or two. I figured that would buy me enough time to move through them and get away. Like I said, I disarmed the trigger fuses for enough of the mines to get by, temporarily. And Hanhar was pretty fast on my trail. I just made it to safety when he hit the first one. The blast leveled the entire ventilation section, and Hanhar was caught right in the middle, and he survived. Barely. He was crawling around, blinded from the flash and the plasma burns. And it happened so fast. All the blood had been scabbed and crusted from the flash. I had the drop on him, and even blind, he knew it. He could still hear me. My ears were ringing from the blast, but I could hear him. I think he was begging me to let him live. His voice, it wasn't a roar, more like an echo of it. I suppose I should have killed him, but I couldn't do it. He was in pain, he was helpless. So I dragged him out of there enough to get him to safety, and he kept hunting me ever since. He said he'd pursue me to the edge of the galaxy. No matter where I ran, he would find me and break me, that I would always be prey. Maybe. I've thought about that moment. A lot. Wondered if I would do things differently if I had another chance. All right.
The fact we are even having a conversation is gratitude. Usually, my conversations do not have the give and take that our current interaction does. And of course, there is much more screaming on the part of the listener when the torture field is activated. I am willing to indulge some of your questions. There are several factors, all of which affect each other. There is the stabilization of Dantooine, the preservation of the restoration efforts on Telos, the political resolution on Onderon, and the unification of a religious power base in the galaxy, either Jedi or Sith. The destruction of my yacht and of all my activities on Nar Shaddaa carry a cost that would take you several lifetimes to pay back. But perhaps the offer of credits will spur you to act quicker, more decisively. I am not unsympathetic to such greed. For every system you stabilize, I will reward you for your efforts. Compassion and mercy only erode respect and power. There is the stabilization of Dantooine. Dantooine is a vital resupply point for the Republic. If its stability is compromised, then the Republic will lose control over many outlying worlds, and they will become a haven for raiders and smugglers. The economic loss from such outer worlds is greater than the Republic is aware of. If the matter is not corrected, then it shall fall. Onderon is an outer rim world, rich in ecological resources. Its aggressive ecology is capable of bringing devastated worlds back to life. It is currently experiencing a political schism split between two forces. One must triumph for the planet to be stabilized. Telos is instrumental to the stability of the Republic. Its success or failure will dictate the economic forecasts of many other worlds. Of course, since the destruction of the Paragas facility, the odds of the Telos restoration project being successfully completed is close to zero. course it was. If you had not got there, the facility would not have been destroyed. If you had simply surrendered to the Sith, then all of that violence would have been unnecessary.